Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Welcome to another episode of The Road Less Traveled. We are so incredibly excited to be here with Mindee. She is the CEO of the Plastics Clinic and Spa. And you are over all of operations and make sure the business actually runs smooth, right?
Yes, that's me.
Well, that's a bigger job than what most people think. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey before we get started?
Okay, so I'm trying to decide even where to start. Um, I actually have a background in cosmetology. I went to cosmetology school right after high school. My parents owned businesses my whole life. So I was working for them during cosmetology school, and all of a sudden I ended up with my dad had a pharmacy, my mom a gift shop together in the same location. My dad all of a sudden kind of was like, "Hey, can you pay this bill for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me?" And he was the pharmacist, so it was hard for him to do a lot of the day-to-day tasks like that. So I ended up taking them on. And I think that was a huge part in what set me up for where I am today. My husband did medical school, residency, fellowship, all the good things. Um, I worked during medical school, during residency and fellowship. I actually did hair out of our home. And then when we came back to Utah and started our own practice, I started doing all of his bills, all of the ordering, things like that. It definitely scaled a lot. So there is a big team with me now that helps a lot of the day-to-day stuff. We actually have even hired a COO as well. So we work hand in hand together to make sure it all runs smoothly. But yeah, in the last 5 years, I have learned a lot. Things reached out of my comfort zone, and yeah, I've worked really hard to get where we are.
Actually, let's start there. What were the things in the last 5 years that made you step out of your comfort zone? Sometimes when people start businesses, they don't realize you really have to push beyond those bounds, like of what you're comfortable with. What made you get very uncomfortable?
So a big one is actually our culture is really important to us. We started at another location. We realized pretty quickly the culture was not. Culture is a buzzword, and people talk about culture and they're like, our culture and culture is so important and all the things. But we realized very quickly it wasn't. It didn't matter to them the same as it did to us, or our cultural values were not aligned. So it was actually in January of 2020, right before COVID, is when we started. Jerry Chidester MD is what it was called at that time. Then COVID happened and we couldn't operate. We couldn't see patients. It was very, very scary. So that was a big push. Just jumping onto our very, very own and not being part of somebody else's practice was already a big push. But we sat with one of our good friends. He is a leader in the Army, and he helped us set our cultural foundations. And we sat and we're like, "What does that exactly mean, culture?" And he was like, "Well, what didn't you like?" So we kind of went backwards, and we talked about the things that didn't work for us or that we saw that didn't work for other members of the team and put them into place. Like one of them that is so small and simple is be yourself and have fun. Like it's simple, but not everyone can do that at work, we have learned, unfortunately. And then there are other things. The one that I've had to work on and I'm actually still working on today is practicing direct assertive communication. That is one of my weaknesses of our cultural foundations, and one that to me it means confrontation, and it doesn't. I'm learning and I'm trying to do better at it. But yeah, we've had to really just reach out of the comfort zone there, and to be a leader, you have to lead. And
I love that you talked about somewhere that you are working on, because so often entrepreneurs are like, I'm great at everything, and they come in and they're like, hey, I got this. The problem is it's really us getting out of our comfort zone. And I think actually a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that because when they first start the business, they're in the position, it's not that very hard. They know how to do it. But when you start leading a team, that's a whole different ballgame. You have to be assertive. You have to be very direct. And I have to say that's something I struggle with. And I'm learning it. It's hard. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
But how did he get going from this culture to the culture that you truly want? How was that process and how long has it taken? And are you really there right now?
I would say our cultural foundations are kind of a living document.
Mhm.
There's something that as we scale and grow, they kind of change and fluctuate, and some become more important or more in the forefront of others. But it's something that at our old location, and I haven't done it here. I have ideas we've been here for 1 year, so I should have it done by now, but in our new location. But I made a big, huge poster and put all of the cultural foundations on the poster, and it was in our break room. So anytime people were in the break room eating lunch, there they were. We actually had team meetings where I would teach about them. And then we actually broke it off after a while and we selected members of the team and they got to choose one that they wanted to teach about. And a lot of times, the one that teaches is the one that learns the most in that moment. And some of them would pick their strength and some of them would pick the one that they felt they needed to work on the most. So that was when it was really cool to see, is when they were like, I know that I need to work on this one. So I'm going to, give ideas of how we can implement it. So that was really cool. I try and write a cultural foundation. I handwrite all of our employees' Christmas cards, and I try and write a cultural foundation, something that I see that they are strong at in like I try and embed it in every conversation that I have, every one-on-one that I have. I try and embed something in there.
I
so
love that
that
you brought up
always going.
one-on-ones. I love
Yeah.
that you brought up one-on-ones because not every business does it, and I think one-on-ones are so important. How often do you do your one-on-ones?
So this is actually kind of funny. I had never had a one-on-one ever. Like I worked for my parents and I did hair. It was just very different. And then my team started asking like, "Hey, we want one-on-ones." And I'm like, what is that?" Google what do I ask in a one-on-one? Look, these are kind of the things that I've had to reach out of my comfort zone and be like, what am I doing? Can I do this? Can I lead? But yeah, I kind of came up with a form where we for sure, I like to do at least annual one-on-ones minimum. With my leads, I do monthly one-on-ones. So we've tried to, like, as our team has gotten bigger, now I want my leads to meet with their team monthly.
Okay.
So we try and do monthly one-on-ones.
How many team members do you have, Mindee?
So we've broken our business into 3 entities now, and there are 85 of us.
Congrats. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Thanks.
So what has been your biggest struggle as you've grown besides the culture? Besides changing that?
A big part has been empowering leads and letting people help where help is needed. Not that they're not good at it or good enough, because we obviously chose our leads for a reason because they are skilled and talented, but sometimes letting go of the reins a little bit and letting somebody else take the lead on it has just been challenging, especially going back to the culture, to make sure that our culture stays in alignment with different people leading that part. So again, I always try and push the culture to especially the leads so that they're kind of pushing it down to their teams as well.
Now you talk about your leads. Now, as you've grown, have you had to change out some of your leads?
They have changed a little bit. There is like one department right now doesn't have a lead. We're hoping to get there. It's a really small department. But yeah, they've changed a little bit, and it's things that we talk about constantly, or else we're educating them on how to stay growing in their roles as well.
Have you had a lead in a position and had to change them out?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. It's something we talk about though. But yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you have 3 different departments, 3 different LLCs now, 3 different businesses, and 85 different employees.
Mhm.
Okay. So, and you are the CEO. And then can you kind of explain your org to us a little bit so the listeners
Yes.
can understand it?
Yeah. So we've got Rory, our COO. He comes with a long background of businesses and in the medical space, as well as he did some commercial real estate even for a while. But he had never been in plastic surgery, kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but um, he comes with just a lot of the business background. So as we've grown and scaled, and we're now looking to add partners, we needed somebody else, and he's helping a lot with the finances as well. With me being the wife, I didn't want to be the one in the numbers. Obviously, I can oversee them and make sure things are how they should be, but I didn't want anything to be accused of anything. So I was like, you can take it. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. So that's one thing. We're so glad to have him. We have our office manager. We're actually working on a different title for her because I feel like what she does is so much more than an office manager. The more I take on my plate, the more my husband takes on his plate. And now Rory, she ends up taking more on as well. So we're kind of figuring out, I just feel like the office manager, she's bigger than that now, which is really exciting. She was with us day one. We had 6 of us total. To watch her grow and scale into what she has done, it has been amazing. She actually just went and got her MBA. So we are so proud of her. She can work circles around even me. So grateful to have her. And like I said, she's taken on more and more of I've taken on more, and things have kind of fallen off my plate onto hers.
That's
And then we
amazing. So, how did you, because she just got her MBA while working for y'all, correct?
yes.
So, how did y'all support her and to be able to do her dreams as well? Because some people don't understand as an entrepreneur, that's a really big part of allowing people to be who they are, like your culture, but also to help them dream big about the business as well. What's their dream?
We try and ask them, like, what are your goals? What are your dreams? She's actually very funny. She's very quiet. And there was probably only maybe 3 people in the whole organization that knew she was even in MBA school.
Wow.
And she kind of like, she doesn't want the attention. She doesn't, we did end up having like a very, she had no idea. We were having a big team meeting, and I got some desserts and a little gift and was just like, hey, by the way, she got her MBA, like, so a quick little to do to give her, just she needed some recognition. I felt she worked hard for that.
Oh, yeah.
But she was just like, that's just her personality. She's the one that's behind the scenes doing and running all the things. So it kind of that fits her personality. But yeah, we asked them, like, what are your dreams? What are your goals? What are your stretch goals? Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? But we've also had to do that with us. We set up a 1 year, 5 year, 10 year plan. We ended up accomplishing our 5 year within 3, our 10 year within 5. So we actually have a meeting set up as we brought on new surgeons. We want to make sure all the goals are in alignment and that we're all on the same page. So we have a meeting set up next month to refocus on what is our next steps.
Congrats. Congrats. Now, you're in plastic surgery. As over ops and the CEO, how have you made sure that expectations can be clear with your guests, with your clients? I mean, because as they come in, they have something in their mind that they're wanting, and then there's actually reality of what
Yeah.
can happen. I hate to say that, but that's true.
No,
How
it's
do you
very true.
manage those expectations so they don't come back?
No, that's very true. That is probably one of the hardest parts. And we have to educate our team very heavily on this, but we also educate our patients very heavily. My husband does a lot of Instagram lives. He used to do more. They've faded a little bit, but they're all like saved on his wall still. People come on and ask questions. He kind of starts to set up those expectations, and all of our surgeons do. And unfortunately, they all learn the hard way. It's a conversation, kind of going back to the direct assertive communication. That's a big part of it. They have to be direct and assertive in their consultations to be like, hey, this isn't going to work, or you're not going to look like that, or, XYZ, whatever it may be. We like to get we want to know what their dreams are, what their goals are. So we ask for a lot of inspiration photos, like show us, we want to see you. Now show us what you're hoping to look like, and then we will see if those can
Even
connect.
align, yeah. Because expectations is the main thing that can literally destroy a relationship, a business, everything. It's making. I like how you name it assertive communication and direct, because we always talk about that. We're in asset management, and it's expectations are huge, and it's
Yes.
so hard. But I'm always trying. You got to be direct, because this
Yes.
ambiguity is like, if people start assuming, it's never going to actually help the deal. It's never going to create happiness or a great relationship.
Yes, it's just going to make it worse.
What is another challenge that y'all have had building? I mean, 85 team members is not small. So what's another challenge that y'all have had growing your business?
One we've kind of faced recently is with the entities dividing. The plastics clinic gets probably most of the recognition just because it's the bigger name brand. People bring us treats, or people do this for the plastics clinic, or they tag the plastics clinic, and then our staff ends up getting a lot of recognition. But our staff downstairs at the ORs, it's High Point Surgery Center, sometimes they're like, well, wait, we didn't get XYZ. This company didn't do this for us, but they did it for them. And, so they all still feel a part of us, which is great to me. I love that they feel we all try and be one big family, but there are little things that happen that I'm like, oh, we still need to acknowledge this, or we still need to make sure they feel this, or XYZ, whatever it may be.
When did you decide to split them out?
Just as the more we've grown, and we want to scale, we're like, okay, can we scale? What can we scale more realistically? Is it a clinic? Is it a spa? Is it the combination of the two, or is it an OR? The OR, we learned as we were building our OR, it is its own separate beast. So our OR actually hasn't even been open a year yet. Next month it will be a year. And it is its own beast. So that's when we're like, let's break that out into its own entity. And then scalability, so we're like, actually, maybe we need to break out plastic surgery and the spa into their own entities as well.
Okay. And then what do you wish you would have known when you started? I mean, from where you're at now, if you were looking back, what do you wish you would have known?
That is a great question. There's so much. I learned so much. What is something that really, really stands out to me? I wish I would have known my potential and where I would be. Like, I feel like I could have owned some things earlier on that would have just set it up for even more success. And sometimes you fail your way up, or, you kind of fail your way to the top a little bit just through little mistakes or things that you wish you had done better. Realizing things like that quicker, I think, would have helped.
Oh, I can understand that. Same. Hindsight's 2020, right? Always trying to learn and grow. How do you continue to develop yourself? What do you do? Because as you said, you're every day getting out of your comfort zone and growing this business. What do you do to be able to do that?
I read business books or like self-help books. I'm constantly looking into things in the industry, other leaders in the industry, like what are they doing? What devices are they using? I go to conferences. Like, I try and continue to learn as well so that I can just keep pushing that down on my team. Like, okay, now you guys, one of our foundations is be open to innovation and change.
Ooh.
And we're really good at that now. I mean, it's still, when we're the best at it, change is still hard. Change is change. But I like that we have that in there, because anytime we do have a change, we're like, hey, it's in our foundations. Like, remember, this is part of who we are, innovation and change. So
No,
yeah.
that is a good one, because change is hard, but change is inevitable for growth.
Yes.
Without change, you can't grow. It's just
Right.
part of it. Oh,
Yeah.
what's your favorite business book? Since you mentioned you like to read books.
Oh, what did I just read? I can't remember what it's called now. It's about talks about seats and having the right person in the right seat
Who's
or the
who?
wrong person. What did you say?
It's who's who.
I think that might be it.
It's like
It's
picking the
I
right
know I'm like
person.
it's orange.
Have you read EOS?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I
Okay.
like that one.
Okay.
It's probably the other one is from the same author.
Okay. Yeah. So he has a big old line of them.
Yes, he
Yeah.
does.
So I've read all those. I love them. I say any entrepreneur needs to read those and understand them and have so do you have the level 10 median and all those different things?
Yep. That's the one that we're gonna have again. One in January, but we had some changes in our company, so we're having one again in September. We have a new surgeon coming on.
Congrats.
Make sure he feels included.
Making people feel included is such an important part. What would you tell the entrepreneurs listening that are going through the roller coaster of building a business?
It's hard, and it's hard not to take it home, especially if they're like it's me and my husband. So on our date night on Friday, we actually got into a little bit of a business tiff, we'll say. We did a funny reel about it yesterday. We get over it pretty quickly now. That's something that we have learned is letting it go. Or if one of us is, hey, it's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, I'm done talking about work. The other one, we're a lot easier to be like, you know what? You're right. Let's stop. Let's go to bed now. Or what else is going on in our life besides work? So letting yourself not focus on it 100% of your life is okay. Work hard, but play hard. Make family stays top and make sure, I don't know, talk to your team, tell your team. I mean, there's certain high level things that we don't give them every detail of, but we try and keep them as informed as we can, as appropriately as we can, because they're invested in it. The more they know, the more invested they feel in our company, and the prouder they are, more proud they are, and they're in with us. We couldn't do it without them.
Oh, 100%. I love that you talked about your husband and you do business together. My husband and I do business together. So I know about the late nights and you're talking all night. It's like, okay, we've got to do something else besides being business partners.
Yes.
And we talk about that all the time because I've interviewed so many. And if you're not careful, the business can take over the relationship. And it's very
100.
important to still be in a relationship and not just business partners.
Yes, 100%. Like that part gets tricky. That line is very, very fine and get crossed very easily. And then all of a sudden you're in a rabbit hole of work and you're like, it's Saturday.
Yes, but it's so important because especially in disagreements in business, you have to be able to disagree in business and then go home and realize that was business, not the relationship. How have y'all been able to manage that one?
Oh, that one gets tricky. Sometimes I have to say like, okay, I need my husband. Like I have to like verbally call it out sometimes. Like, hey, I need to talk to my husband right now about my work day. Like I wouldn't necessarily say this to my business partner maybe, or, XYZ. I just need to vent to my husband. So I have to call it out sometimes. And same for him. He crosses the line easier than I do. I don't know if it's because I watched my mom and dad in business growing up, where at work they were Lee and Randy. They were not husband and wife, and they weren't my parents. They were my bosses. So I don't know if that's been a little bit easier, but it's funny. People will go into the conference room and I'll be sitting there and he's always later than me to the meetings. But I'll be sitting there and people will come and sit by me and then they'll be like, oh, I'll move so Jerry can sit there. And I'm like, no, we're at work. I don't have, yeah, I'll sit by him. I like him, but I don't have to sit by him all the time. I'm at work.
It's business. Yes, I'm the same way, 100%. Business at business, home life, we can be husband and wife. Because it's easier to separate it that way. And I think it's easier for the team as well.
Yes.
100%. What's the best advice you've ever received?
People say all the time, like, hire slow, fire fast, especially when it comes to our culture. And unfortunately, we have had to fire just based off our culture before. Probably the hardest one of the hardest things that we've had to do, because it's not that we dislike somebody and it's not that they did anything major wrong. I almost would have rather found out they were like stealing supplies, or do you know what I mean? Like it would have been like an easier, like, you did this wrong. But to also tell someone like, hey, we're not cultural, we're not a cultural fit with each other. This isn't going to work. That's hard.
That is really
to
hard.
say, and it's hard for me. Like I knew how they were going to feel that, and it's hard. We've had to do it a couple times.
That is hard, but it is true. Hire slow, fire fast.
Or it can burn a hole in your business.
It really can.
Yucky.
Really can. What book would you recommend for the viewers, the listeners that are listening right now?
10x is easier than 2x, and the EOS. All those books are good. My husband, I'm trying to look at his desk right now. He just started reading yesterday, and he's all in, and it's about scalability. And so if he's done reading that will be my next read. So yeah.
Nice. Where can people find you, Mindee, to look you up, to learn more about you? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's mindee.chidester. It's kind of tricky to spell. Mindee. And Chidester is Chidest. I'm like, what's my last name?
It's called We're in Business. We don't know anymore.
And then we're at the Plastics Clinic.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you being on today, and we really appreciate you coming forward and discussing it. I would love to have you back again and discuss relationship business partners, because I think that's something that could be a whole nother topic that would need to be discussed.
Maybe I could even get Jerry on here with me.
Oh yeah, we could do you and Jerry and my husband and I. That could be hilarious.
Couple.
Yes, you can see us disagree and agree and all the fun stuff.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you, or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.